Good morning, everyone. Susan Finch here, and today I have on my Binky Patrol hat, which is a little different than the one you usually see behind me. And I have my friend Heather Crafter here. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Susan. I'm glad to be here.
This is fun. We've been talking about doing this for a while, and what we're doing today is we are going to learn to make a simple blanket. Guys, I hear from so many of you that I'm not crafty. I don't know how to sew. I don't know how to blah, blah, blah. It's no, 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 don't know, can't. Stop it. This is easy, and it's not expensive, and one of these, like this, can comfort a kid and can make a kid know that somebody cares, that they aren't forgotten, they aren't invisible, that they are of value. This can be done quite easily. You can do this for another child. And there might not be a Binky Patrol chapter near you, binkypatrol.org. That's okay. You can still make it. Find a local clinic, foster care agency, any of those types of services, and give it to them. It doesn't have to have a Binky Patrol label. It doesn't have to be from Binky Patrol. It has to be from your heart, though. So that's what we're learning to do today, because we are coming into fall, and this is a great time and a great opportunity to say, hey, as a company, what can we all do together? Let's get some pizzas, some sodas, or whatever, and spend an afternoon making binkies as a company and donate them as a company. Maybe it's who you're already volunteering for or doing some of your strategic volunteering for. It's a company you already, an organization you already know. Fine. If not, find another one. There are plenty of places that have kids and teens, especially teen boys, that need that bit of love. Heather, can you show off the fabric you have today?
I sure can. Just give me a second. I'm going to switch my camera.
Okay.
So I actually grabbed, and Mia Voss, this one might be right there for your, by the way, she's in the audience, just in case you wanted to know, Susan, but this one might throw you just a little bit, not just for teen boys, but especially for Star Wars fans. So this is the material that I've got to work with today, as Susan's going to be showing us how to make a really easy, this is like, I don't need to sew, right?
No, you need to have scissors. So hopefully you've still mastered your scissors skills from first grade.
Got it. I think I can handle that.
We have sharper ones.
And then what's this material? What is this called exactly?
This is fleece, and there's different types of fleece. There's polar fleece, which is really soft and costs a little bit more. And then there's no pill fleece, which means when it washes, it doesn't get those little ball things on it, like sweaters get the pills. So they're different types. But I want to show you how inexpensive it can be. Heather, show off what you got in the mail or the paper.
I did. I got this in the mail. This is from Joann's Fabric and Craft Store. It's this week's thing going on until the 27th, so you've got time. 60% off that anti-pill fleece that you were talking about, and if you wanted to get that blizzard fleece, that's 50% off. I didn't even know there were differences in all this. You're teaching me so much. So micro fleece is also 50% off, so you can't even complain about the one you wanted wasn't on sale. It's on sale. Ha ha. Guess what else is on sale?
These scissors.
Yeah, I know. 40% off Fisker sewing scissors. So you have no excuses, people. Go on out and get them, because Susan's going to show us how now.
All right. So I do like the polar fleece. And know, too, that Joann's Fabric and all fabric stores like to sell a lot of fabric. So they'll convince you that you need to have 2 layers. You really don't. If you're delivering your blanket or giving it away to a homeless shelter, especially for adults, yes, 2 layers are nice, because sometimes that's all they have between them and the ground. And same with teens. When it's little kids, though, 2 layers gets really heavy and they get sweaty. And the kids get all gross. All they want is something soft. So we like to make our blankets, when it's for little kids, at least a full 48 inches. So I buy 2 yards of this. So this is what the fabric comes looking like. You have them cut you 2 yards. And then it has this stuff on it that I'm not a big fan of. This part needs to be cut off. This is like who made the fabric. Sometimes it's the color key and things like that. You don't want that, because it'll make your fringe look ugly. So you're going to trim that off. And so the easiest way to trim it off I don't like to have to cut a long time, so I fold things in half, like that. And then I put it on a flat surface, which I happen to have right here at my table. And I make sure the two ends line up neat and tidy. I got both sides. And then I just cut it. I cut it once to get both halves. So then I don't have to cut and cut and cut and cut, because I have really good brand new scissors, see? That's why we keep our scissors sharp and we don't let people cut newspaper and tinfoil with them. Because tinfoil is really hard on scissors. So is plastic and other things. So then you're going to cut that off. So if you have your fleece, fold it in half and cut that stuff off. Okay. Then you can throw that away or use it for a cat toy.
Use it for a cat toy. That was awesome.
So then you have that. But the other part is, when you cut these blankets, we're going to be cutting fringe all the way around the edge. The corners get hinky. And it's like, well, which way do I cut the fringe on the corners? So we don't have corners. We're going to cut the corner off. So what I want you to do, you're already in half with your fabric. We just did that, right? To cut off that weird binding edge. I want you to put it in half again. So all four corners are together.
Oh boy.
Okay, can you do that, Heather? Let me know when you have that.
I'm also trying to make sure I don't pin one of us over the other, so I don't know how I'm doing with that. But usually Debbie does all this tech stuff for me, so you're making me work a little harder than usual, Susan.
Well, I just can't reach.
And that's quite all right. I want the audience to know I'm a novice here, okay? All right, so you're saying fold it so that all the corners match up and align.
Right.
Okay.
And if you didn't cut it totally perfect, it's okay. It really is. You just want to get that ugly writing off there.
You know what? I love that, because I have a thing on my show where I say I'm not perfect. I'm perfectly imperfect, as a matter of fact. So if you were going to tell me we had to do this perfectly, I probably would have quit already.
Oh, I would have quit too. You should have seen the first blankets we used to make. My mom and I were really scary with how we used to sew. So then you have, look at mine though. It has a notch out, Heather.
Okay, so you already cut out the corner. Okay, so this portion right here I'm showing is what I'm going to cut out, this square in the corner here.
Exactly, notch it.
All right, I'll do that. We're going to see if my scissors are sharp enough. I think I need to head to Joann's and get the 40% off ones, because these are not... Do you know that I have a pair that no one's allowed to touch, and they're gone? Someone touched.
We won't point fingers, though, will we?
No, I won't, but off camera I've already said her name. I like to blame it on somebody, so it's usually my fault, but I do like to blame it on someone anyway. All right, so... basically, you're going to cut through all of these layers, is what you're telling me, right?
Right.
All right. So I'll do that while you head on over to the next thing.
We're going to leave it folded, though, guys, because, again, I like to save time, and I like it that I have really sharp scissors, because cutting fringe can kind of grate on you. And the fringe is going to be about this long. That's about 4 inches. So we're going to cut fringe down the sides, the open sides, 4 inches deep. So I'll show you one and then I'll hold it up. So I'm actually going to start at my notched edge, because that's my starting point, and I'm going to cut to here. My fabric's really thick right now, but my scissors are sharp, so it won't be too bad. And my notch kind of gives me my guideline for the depth. And again, if it doesn't match perfectly even, it's okay. Just come close, because it'll make it easier when you tie it. So I'm going to cut a few fringe pieces. I cut them 1 inch across and as deep as my notch.
And you still have it folded, so you're saying that...
I'm cutting through 4 layers of fabric at once.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Okay.
I've got more, because I'm making the 2-layer kind that you said not to do for the little people.
Okay.
Because I'm making this for, like you said, a teen boy, so...
Okay, so I have this. You can already see 2 of mine cut. And I'm going to keep going all the way across with this. So this is really a great idea, guys. Again, like I said, for a company project, it's good for, maybe it's a Girl Scout troop or Boy Scout troop. What if you're looking for a birthday party that doesn't just get your child a whole bunch of gifts that they don't really need? Or maybe in addition to the gift, I mean, whatever. But it's an activity, especially as we come into the winter season and you have rainy day parties or slumber parties. And a lot of times the girls will just sit around, I know in our house, they'll just sit around and cut these fringe things and just chat away and drink their caffeinated sodas and just have a great time getting all caffeined up and eating pizza. And so you just want to make sure you have like a towel so they can wipe their fingers in between.
Hey, you know what, Susan?
But
This would be incredibly awesome to do like what you and I are doing as a hangout.
it's a great thing to do with a friend or with 5 friends or 10 friends. Yeah, you're right. It's an easy thing to do and to just visit as you're doing this and to kind of talk about, hey, you know, let's do a theme and let's give them all to maybe a battered women's shelter. Years ago, one of my friends that I grew up with, I've known her since 3rd grade, her son had to have his heart valve replaced. And it was pretty traumatic and really sad, and they were scared. And so my girlfriend and I sat around one night and we made 4 blankets. We made one for each of them. So for the parents and for the kids, and the ones we made for the parents were big enough so they could cuddle up with the kids on the sofa.
Oh.
And the little brother, the brother who was not sick, liked having it. He was scared. This Binky, they all still memory for them. It means a lot. Sometimes we've given Binkies, you know, it's not always a happy ending. We make little kits for we call them our angels, the ones that never get to go home from the hospital. So sometimes we make tiny ones with little gowns and caps, and it's the only gift that baby got. And the parents keep the blanket, and then the babies get buried with the gowns and the caps. But the parents like it because somebody actually gave respect to their little baby that they didn't get to take home, but they didn't love any differently.
You know, it's interesting that you say all of this, Susan, because my middle son spent some time in a hospital last year at the end of the year for reasons I won't go into, but it was not a good time for us and our family, and it was really not a good time for him. And so one of the things that he did receive was a handmade blanket, and it was just one of these, like you call them, binkies, that somebody had donated, and he brought that home. That is the one thing that he really treasures right now. I think it helps him remember that was a time in his life that things weren't going great, but he got out of it, and it's comforting. It's just like you said, it's a comforting experience.
Yeah, and it isn't just for the one child. You know, sometimes we end up giving these to kids that are the children of parents that are going through cancer treatment.
Oh, wow.
And so actually the binkies I'm making today are for 2 neighbors. One of
Well, I'm not sure if you froze or if I froze. I'm not sure if that makes a change or not, but I do love these. Saying hi to Cheryl Deuce. I love these blankets too, and you did them at work for Christmas Box House. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I would love to hear what anybody else is doing or planning to do, or you know, one thing that Susan hasn't had a chance to talk about is that there is a worldwide event going on October 25th that you might want to partake in, especially if you are able to buy some of that, get a deal on the current Joann's. Not that we're telling you have to go to Joann's, but just want to say that if you did find it somewhere else, that's fine too. But anyway, so basically go pick up some material and join us October 25th. All the details for that event are in the details of this event that you're currently watching. And if you're watching the YouTube channel later on, we'll have the link for that there. This is kind of funny because I don't know what to do after this point. You realize that? Like, Susan's left. Susan has left, so I don't know what to do next. But I'm cutting away. And I had to switch to these tiny little scissors because I've already mentioned that my other ones are disappeared, but this is just proof that you don't have to have the perfect equipment to make this happen. Sheer determination and yeah, sheer determination. That's pretty much what's getting me through this moment. So I would love for, let's see, Lainey says, yes, we can hear you. Now we can see you too. That's wonderful. Okay, so I figured it out.
So I have cut all my fringe. And we talked about ideas too, that it's easy to have a party, that you can have a hangout and do this. You can have, I don't know, a birthday party. You could do it as a church thing. You can do it as a company thing. Heather, any other ideas?
Well, you know, my community, crafters community, we like to do things just like this with card making. And they've actually gotten together in a hangout all over the world, hanging out, making cards together. There is nothing wrong with doing the same thing with Binkies. I think this is a really cool thing. You don't have to be in the same place. You don't have to. All you have to do is meet up online.
It's a pretty easy thing. So I have my fringe cut, and so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to tie. It's just not that hard. How many of you remember how to tie a balloon? It's kind of like that. You're just going to tie it around your finger. So I'm trying to find, where's the end? Here's the end. Oh, it worked out so nice with that notching. See? So now I have a pretty area for a fringe. So I'm going to put it around my finger like this, and you tie just a single knot when you're doing single layer, and then you slide the knot to the top. Don't worry about making it really tight or anything, because otherwise it'll make your binky kind of buckle up a bit. So you just keep doing that all the way around. It becomes kind of a mindless thing you don't even need to see. You just can be talking and visiting with your friends, whether they're in person or online, and you can easily do this.
So now does it matter, Susan, if you're doing 2 layers as opposed to 1?
2 layers you tie more like a knot in your shoes.
Oh, okay.
So you get the 2 fringes, and then you're going to get them and do your little typical knot thing. So when you're ready for a close-up of that, I'll let you do that.
All right. I'm not ready, in case you can't tell.
So
I didn't do any prep work. I wasn't prepped.
That's okay, because we've been able to visit during this time. See, look at that. We've been able to visit about all sorts of things in between. So we're challenging you guys. Joann's has an app, has coupons. Other fabric stores have regular sales and things. You can even buy it online. And with Amazon Prime, you can probably get it pretty fast if you need it for a quick party. Good for a classroom project, good for a church project, youth group projects. But get some fabric. Find a local area shelter, a clinic, foster care agency, cancer support group. See if they would love to get some binkies and take them there. All you got to do is make them and take them.
That's one thing I was going to ask you, Susan. Do you have to seek permission first, or is it pretty well received, do you think?
It's pretty well received. Some hospital units, like the intensive care units and stuff, have more issues and more specifications because of infections and different types of things. I know for the preemie ward, crocheted binkies are really popular because they actually use them to drape over the incubators to kind of cut down on the harsh light for the babies. And when you're dealing with drug-addicted babies, no bright colors.
Oh, I did not know that.
Dull, soft, dark colors. Nothing bright because you don't want to stimulate them.
Oh, interesting.
And here's an idea too, guys. If you have a lot of buttons laying around your house, what an opportunity to learn Braille. You can make a binky like this and sew on buttons to spell a message.
Oh.
And we used to do that. We one time we used to give to a blind children's learning center, and we made what we call burrito binkies. Because the kids couldn't see, we made them really squishy on one side, and the other side we had the Braille alphabet. And because we did them in different buttons, they were able to, it was like different fonts for them. So they loved the different textures for each letter because the buttons were different.
Wow, there's a look of amazement and shock on my face as I'm cutting here. You can't see it, but trust me, it's there. I had no idea.
They're all different ways. I mean, it's one of those things that people would donate stuff to us. And yes, I do draw the line. Free isn't always good. Sometimes we get really stinky, rough, stupid fabric. And there is stupid fabric. And people, I've actually had people leave bags on my porch that had the word trash crossed out, and then they put Binky. Like, really? Are you kidding me?
So you're saying give with love, right? Give with love.
What would you want your blanket made out of? Trash? It's like giving homeless people all your stuff with holes and stains on it. They don't want to look like crud either. Make it look nice.
You got it.
Some things just need to be a rag,
Believe it or not, I'm almost to the end. You know what I did while you weren't around? I actually did something on my own. I took the initiative and cut the side. So I'm going to get to it here in a second, and you tell me if I did it right. But it sounds to me like there's really no wrong way.
There is, as long as, I've had some people, though, there's some, like, fuzzy fabric that almost feels like that. It's colorful and looks kind of furry almost. It's, all fuzzy.
And it sheds a lot.
It sheds a lot. And
I call it poodle hair. I call it poodle
whatever that stuff is, don't make it out of that.
Yeah.
It makes a good binky backing if you're using fabric. But not if you're doing these, because the fringe tears right off and it washes off. And you have fringe all over the house plus all the furry stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
But what we've done locally here we have big events every year, and we have a local hotel that gives us all their sheets. They won't repair their sheets. So they wash them for us really well, and they save them. And we use them for the backing.
Oh.
So we can put them with that poodle stuff or other things or, scrap fabrics, and then we make them into binkies that way.
Okay, so here I am down to the end. Oh, I'm cutting this off. Whoops. You didn't see that. Okay, so I'm down to this last part here.
Yeah? Are you still pinned or no?
No, when I talk, okay. I'm on screen.
Oh, good.
Okay, so when I get to this part, this is obviously 2, right? I want to cut that in half?
I would split that, yeah. That's too wide.
Good, I'm glad, because that's what I did on the other side, so if it was wrong...
No.
All right. Believe it or not, I am down to the end of the fringe, trying hard not to cut the fringe off of the other side. It's hard to do it with tiny little scissors, but it's worth it. Yep. Okay. There you go. I have my fringe cut.
All right. So get one pair.
This is easy to do because it's a black and a red.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome.
Now do the half knot. Like you're starting tying your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Go down to the bottom and do it again.
And that's it? And you're telling me I'm done?
That's it for that one.
All right. Here I go. Any guesses as to what I'll be doing for the next 10 minutes?
It takes less than an hour to make one of these guys.
From
cutting and trimming to the finishing. It really does. If you're focused and you're not dealing with technical things like trying to set up your cell phone to be your camera.
You know what's awesome about that, though, Susan, is that if it takes less than an hour, there's really very little money investment, very little time investment. It almost makes me wonder, why wouldn't you do this?
Right. So, guys, tell us why you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to hear from you out there. Tell me why you wouldn't. If you're not doing it already, tell me why you wouldn't. Because this is incredibly cool.
Yeah, it's just a fun, easy thing, and it makes a difference. And the thing, too, guys, when you let kids get involved in this, they get it. They know how important their blanket was to them. So they know what a difference it'll make to another child. Let them learn to give. This is also a great project for seniors that don't have arthritis, because a lot do. But the ones that don't forget, when people end up at those convalescent homes and assisted living facilities, one of the things that ages them the quickest is when they are no longer thinking they are of value, that they don't matter, that they can't make a difference, that they can't contribute to society. Take them some fabric, sit with them. If you have a troop or some kids with you, take them too. They love being with the youth. They love being of value. So there's another service opportunity any time of the year. Everybody goes at Christmas and the holidays. And yes, it is appreciated then too. But don't forget, Happy Tuesday is a great time to give, any time of the year.
I love it. Happy Tuesday. That sounds like a new thing to be able to do. I've heard of Champagne Thursdays. Maybe we make it Binky Mondays or something like that.
Anytime's a good time to make a binky. It's a
I
good
like
time
it.
to get out of yourselves. You're having a rough day, have some fleece around. Do something
Hey,
for somebody else.
this is actually very therapeutic too. So I mean, I know you're talking about for everybody else too, but I'm getting something out of this just sitting here doing this.
Well, yeah, and you think about who it's going to go to. Think about how you would feel if your family had something going on, or if your child was hurting or scared, or if you guys lost your home, or were in transition, or were trying to get to a safe place. If it's a mom trying to make a better life for her children because she's in a bad situation and being abused. How scary to be taken from your home in the middle of the night, to have to leave for safety, and you have nothing. You have nothing. So to have something like a blanket welcoming you at your place that you're seeking safety from, how cool would that be? How would that help you and your family? What if there was a fire, flood, tornado, anything? I know for Binky Patrol, whenever there's a natural disaster, we get on our forum on our website, binkypatrol.org, and we go there and we'll group together and say, okay, who has a connection at the Red Cross, or who has a connection at the church that everybody's seeking shelter at? And then we find a way to get everything there. And we find people to donate the shipping. You don't want to make blankets? Hey, folks, donate the shipping. If you ship a lot, we can always use shipping dollars, because that's what we do too, is we'll ship them anywhere where they're needed if there isn't a chapter near them. We don't want anybody to be forgotten.
What if I wanted to join the Binky Patrol? I almost said army, but
Just be one of the volunteers?
yeah.
You can go to binkypatrol.org, and at the top there's a drop-down menu with all of our current chapters. The only official chapters are the ones listed in the list.
Okay.
And contact them. Most of them are pretty good at getting back to you really fast. And if not, drop me a note, binky@binkypatrol.org, and I'll find out what's going on. There's also a list of ways to help. Some of you folks need community service hours because you've got some traffic violations or maybe something else, or maybe your kids have to do it for high school and do community service hours. There's an article up at the drop-down menu under Ways to Help about community service hours. There's also an item of consider starting a chapter. Maybe you have a few friends and you want to have your own chapter of Binky Patrol. Pretty easy too. Now, unfortunately, guys, in other countries, we can inspire you. I don't have the bandwidth to deal with the taxes in other countries. And we don't have the bandwidth to deal with the taxes in Florida because they charge us money for being a nonprofit. They consider Binky's money.
Huh.
And so we had to stop having chapters there. But there are other organizations that accept blankets, and you're welcome to make them and donate them locally because you'll get a tax receipt still from the agencies you deliver to. So if that's the concern, because some people are on fixed incomes, and this is enough to put them over the edge, but if you can get the tax deduction, sometimes that helps. So that's okay too.
So what if I wanted to say, I don't really have not even the hour. I can't imagine people saying this, but anyway, let's just pretend I don't have the hour, but I definitely have the money. I want to make sure that Binkies get made. Is there a way to just donate to the project itself?
Yep, on our homepage, there's a button for Donate Now. It's pretty big. And you can donate through PayPal, or you can send a check. You can send us gift cards for Joanne Fabric. We can use it all.
So you've made it pretty darn easy for people to get involved in one way or another.
Yep, and we are a 501c3 corporation, and so it is totally tax deductible. Now, don't confuse that, folks. When you say, "Oh, I don't have to pay tax on it because it's for a charity," you still have to pay sales tax. But what it means is you can take it off of your taxes as an expense because you made a contribution. So don't confuse that with being tax exempt. That doesn't mean you don't pay sales tax. And some people get confused with that.
So Cheryl Locke asked in the comments, will the instructions for the type of fabric and sizes be online so that we can easily share? Also,
Yes.
A list of people or places to give the blankets to, is that an option? So basically all that is on
Yes
the
and
website.
no.
No.
On the website, you can look for fleece, and under patterns, there's a link for all of our different types of patterns: crochet, knit, sew. We don't care, just so it's soft and washable. We just like to show these because they're quick and you don't have to have a lot of skills. You just have to have a good heart. As for where you're going to deliver them to, Cheryl, we let every chapter decide on their own because that helps you build community. I couldn't possibly keep track of the credibility or the list of all the places to donate binkies to across the country. So I'm going to kind of rely on you guys to look in your counties, look at social services, check with the police department for battered women's shelters. Sometimes even the police and sheriff's departments like to have them in the trunks of their car for when they make those calls in the middle of the night to take a family away or take kids away and put them in foster care on an emergency basis. And they like having those handy. So that's going to be kind of up to all of you.
Wow, you're opening my eyes up to so many possibilities.
It's a fun and easy thing to do. I don't think I'll finish tying this during this show, but I'm hoping that you guys have all gotten enough ideas. And if you go to the bit.ly link I'll put in here, bit.ly/globalbat, we're doing a global Binkathon on Make a Difference Day at the end of October. We are looking for people to be in the film strip to show us that they're making binkies. It can be in a group, it can be just one person. It would be really fun to have somebody on 5 different continents doing this with us at the same time or throughout the day. So I'm going to be broadcasting live with several events that day. We'll have one going, and when we're done with that one, we'll take a little break, and then maybe we'll get the next continent on, and then maybe the next part of the country, and hit some of the time zones. If you're interested in participating in that, maybe you have a group of kids, maybe it's your best friends, maybe it's just you. Doesn't matter. Let me know in the comments. Say, I want to do the Global Bat, and I will get you set up. Go to that link I told you, bit.ly/globalbat, B-A-T, for Binkathon, and you can say yes to that event, and I'll be contacting everybody really soon to say, hey, what do you want to do? Because there's a way all of you can participate if you want, and you can inspire others to do it. Even if it's not live with us during those events, do it in your off hours. Do it when it fits your schedule. Any time is the right time to make a binky and to tell a kid that you care and that they're not forgotten. So Heather, I think that's about it, don't you?
I was just going to say, I think even though we haven't finished tying, I think we've pretty much given the great idea of how people can help. And look, I'm not...
I don't know who froze up, whether it's me or Heather, so I'm going to talk in case you don't. There you are.
In just the next few minutes, so...
Yep, I still have a ways to go, but I'm getting there. So I'll finish mine sometime today to get it delivered later on to our neighbors that are going to need that really soon. And so we want to make sure that they have a hug from us throughout the process of her cancer treatment. Heather, I want to thank you for joining me and for doing this with me on camera. What a treat to have that time with you.
Hey, it's been a treat for me too. I feel like I've learned a lot. I've gotten to really have my eyes open about all the ways that I can help, even just in my own community, and that's really the biggest thing to do, is to help in your own community.
It is, because it opens people's eyes to the needs of that organization too, and maybe there are other ways that fit. Maybe it's food, maybe it's blankets, maybe it's bedding, furniture, who knows? Maybe it's medical care. But that's how we raise awareness and raise our communities up. So get involved, you guys. Give it a shot. If you do any binkies, send, plus mention Susan Finch or binkypatrol.org so that we can see what you've made. I would love to see it and inspire others to do the same. So Heather, I'm going to let you take us out. And folks, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.